Welcome back to a very hungover edition of Sunday Vibes in a very busy and loud pub. So apologies for any sound issues you have during this episode. There's literally nothing we can do about it. It was the Football Daily office party last night. I'm feeling extremely worse for wear. I was vomiting not 8 hours ago.
Not 8 hours ago.
I can feel my brain peeling away from my skull.
Disgusting scenes, absolutely outrageous. I don't know whether James Wayne's alive. Nobody's heard from him, and he was quite frankly disgraced last night.
I think he slept on the side of a road.
He's one of those drunks as well that has no concept of personal space as soon as he's had 2 or 3 drinks. So he spent the night 3 centimetres away from whoever he was speaking to. A very intense drunk. So a lot of various emotions banded around the FD office last night.
There were.
You had to slip out early, didn't you?
Yeah, my wife managed to lock herself out of the house.
Devastating, that is.
Hey.
Nice one, Emma.
So you're actually,
Nice
just ask Pat all the questions. I'll just sit here drinking his Coke, which is absolutely genius, by the way.
Well, let's get on with the questions. The first one was sent in by Greg Haller, and he says, how do you think Ole Gunnar Solsjkaer will do at Manchester United? We put this down as, or at least I did, for my surprise of the season on this week's podcast. If you haven't listened already, make sure you click the link in the description below and go and download that. But, gentlemen, what are your thoughts on Solskjaer at United?
Is the pub that loud, or is it just the voices in my head?
Suddenly it's got very loud.
Yeah.
It has. Maybe it's
Solskjaer at Man United. Okay. I mean, like you said, it's damage limitation at the moment. I think the calibre of people in your squad means that finishing outside of 6th is very unlikely. You look at the candidates who are knocking on the door for that position, Wolves and Everton, and despite them being in better form than you, they're still not really staking a very convincing claim, are they? So I think 6th is pretty much secure with some competent management, of which Solskjaer will bring to the club because he is a competent manager. He's won a couple of Tippeligaens, hasn't he? A Norwegian Cup.
Yeah.
So very successful with Molde, which were his first club in Norway before he joined Manchester United. And he's coached him in the Europa League. I remember when they came to Celtic Park, beat us 3-1. A 40-year-old scored against us. It was a real personal low for me as a Celtic fan. But they finished top of our group, and we had Ajax in there as well. So he's managed successfully in Europe. Didn't go well for him at Cardiff, did it? But he joined them when they were 17th after the whole Malky Mackay debacle. The club wasn't a good place to be there. He did get sacked. He did get summer to prepare for the Championship.
Yeah.
He got sacked 6-7 games into that Championship season, so a bit of a blemish on his record there. But what's interesting about Solskjaer is he's clearly always been a student of the game, because when he signed his last contract with Manchester United in 2006, he actually had it stipulated in that contract that a view, an option to coach was there. Yeah. And he took over the reserve team managerial position as well. I think had a degree of success there. I remember him lifting some sort of trophy after beating Liverpool's reserves. So he knows the club inside out, which I know is used quite willy-nilly. But we saw David Moyes struggle when he came in, cleared out the backroom staff, had people that didn't maybe have pockets of influence at the club. Solskjaer already has that. He's embedded with behind the scenes. So he has that going for him as well. There's a bit of continuity behind the scenes. In terms of his playing style and whether he's going to get the best out of the attacking talent you have, because, I mean, your first thing that you said to me was he's just going to let Pogba play where he wants. I'm totally unsure of. I don't know what stylistically he's going to bring to Manchester United.
Yeah.
Well, are you any?
I've done a little bit of research on his sort of style of football, and massively favours attacking football. Very much looking to play on the front foot, and that was.
He learnt under Fergie, didn't he? He studied under Fergie.
So that was arguably what went wrong for him at Cardiff. I read a really interesting interview with him about his time at Cardiff, and he said when he first took over, he just joined from Molde, and at Molde he'd played free-flowing attacking football. He'd had some of the best talent in the league, and he was basically letting them go out there and express themselves in a similar sort of Arsene Wenger way, I guess you could say. When he went to Cardiff, he thought, I'm going to play the same brand of football I played at Molde. I'm going to try and let players express themselves, play attacking football. When the squad wasn't built for that, they were in the middle of a relegation battle. So he basically admits that he got it completely wrong there, and he
almost
obviously
like a De
didn't.
Boer going to Crystal Palace type scenario where they've just not got the personnel to
not
fit
a right,
the
not a right
philosophy.
fit, and he got it totally wrong,
Okay.
and it was very poor at Cardiff. He's then gone back to Mulder, hasn't he? Continued that brand of attacking football last season, scored I think 20 more goals than any side in the league, and they finished second. So his record at other clubs, to me though, I don't really think it matters. Because he's there for 6 months.
I think it does, unlike Giggsy. Like when we saw the video of Giggs giving those team talks, you know, against Manchester City, where he's like, let's just beat them. They're City. And there was no tactical nous, there was no player, no team shape, player movement. Like, you have a caretaker manager who's also a club legend, but who's also a competent manager at top flight level.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. Like, I think I don't understand any Man
It's
United
much better
fans.
than giving it to Giggs, isn't it?
I don't understand any Man United fans that have a problem with this.
Okay.
He's coming in for 6 months. We paid a £500,000 compensation fee to Mulder. We have to let him return at the end of the season.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Because the domestic season in Norway starts in March. So Ole's assistant managers from Mulder are taking charge of the club for 2 months back in Norway, whilst he's at Man United.
That must be quite a unique agreement.
Because he's obviously brought in Mickey Phelan to be his assistant manager at Manchester United, Phelan the Fish. So it is a very unique
That's got to
agreement.
be a t-shirt.
It is actually a very unique agreement. I can't imagine there's many other places that have allowed it. And likely, in a similar sort of aspect, Mike Phelan is the sporting director for the Central Coast Mariners in Australia. So they've allowed him to come in.
I imagine
on
this
a
benefits
6-month
the
deal.
clubs more than just financially as well. United
course,
have got to be
yeah.
helping them.
Yeah,
scout
United probably.
players.
Yeah, something. There'll be another agreement. But 500,000 we paid to Mulder. We haven't paid anything for Mickey Phelan, but he's also working as a sporting director part time, which basically
Mickey
means
Phelan
one day
sounds
a
like
week.
some sort of Detroit gangster, doesn't it?
When
you say
but,
Mickey.
But like, I just think it's kind of a no lose. We can't get any worse. People are like, well, you could still be pushing for the top four. Get realistic. We're 11 points off the top four. We're not anywhere near the level of a Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs. Like, our best hope is running Arsenal down, and their defence falters.
You made a good point on the podcast in that you've been quite reactionary in the past Manchester United in terms of employing the next manager, and now there's, at least ostensibly, it feels like there's going to be some sort of process, some actual, a bit of an assessment of the club from the top down.
Yeah.
So in
That's
6
good.
months, who do you want to see come through the door?
It has to be Pochettino. Yeah.
Do you think you can get him?
I mean, it's either going to be Pochettino or Zidane, and I think Zidane's rejected us. I don't think Zidane wants Man United. I think if you're Zinedine Zidane and you're sat there and you're thinking, I can pick up bigger jobs that are way easier right now and walk into them. Like if Allegri was
He's
to
going to
leave
go to the UAE for $6 billion.
No, but if Allegri was to leave Juventus in the summer, I think Zidane walks in there, wins 3 Serie A titles and goes, there you go, 3 Champions Leagues in a row, 3 Serie A titles in a row. What are you saying? Same at Bayern Munich, he'd probably do the same, or PSG. I think at Manchester United, the reason we've given Solskjaer that short-term contract is to bring a bit of enjoyment back to the club. I think there are not going to be any room for players hiding under Solskjaer because they haven't got the excuse of, Mourinho was shackling me. Okay, well, you're not performing under Solskjaer now either, and trust me on this one, the fans will back Solskjaer over the players. There were fans under Mourinho that were backing the players, and I was one of them probably towards the end. It will be totally different under Solskjaer.
Though the Solskjaer move is a move that's, the wisdom of it is kind of predicated on belief in the quality of the players, right?
Yeah.
The theory with Mourinho is that Mourinho now had reached such a level of kind of toxicity with the board and the players that he was not only not getting the best out of them, but he was actively making them worse.
That's it.
Yeah.
So we assume that just getting out of their way will bring them back to roughly the level of their talent, and the level of their talent is what you're saying,
Top 6.
is 6th.
And that's fine for
And
Man United this season.
this is kind of a no-lose scenario for Solskjaer. Like, he's going back to his other job anyway, though I suppose if they wanted, United probably could pay more compensation and get him out permanently.
Yeah.
But worst case scenario, he doesn't do any better than Mourinho and they stay in mid-table, and then they don't have to deal with the Europa League next season.
Exactly my point.
They're still going to have exactly the... I don't think that them having Europa League football is going to be any sort of draw for the next manager, so that doesn't matter. And if he enhances his reputation, then maybe he gets a move to a mid-table Premier League club or a mid-table club or one of the top 5 leagues.
And I also think you look at it, and for Ole Gunnar Solsjkaer to come in for 6 months means, like you were talking about then, we are forward planning. We have to get a sporting director, and I think Ed Woodward has recognised that, and he is approaching people. He apparently had a meeting with Paul Mitchell, the sporting director at RB Leipzig, earlier this week, who's obviously worked with Pochettino before. I think RB Leipzig actually poached him away from Tottenham.
Okay.
A lot of people were saying that he fell out with Pochettino at Spurs, but I read an article yesterday that kind of dispelled that myth, and that Paul Mitchell chose to move abroad because he wanted to get experience in a wider variety of leagues than just the Premier League, where he'd done very good things at Southampton and brilliant things at Tottenham, and he wanted to get experience in the Bundesliga as well, so he moved over to RB Leipzig, which is a great opportunity and doesn't come around very often.
Yeah.
A club like that that's cash rich, on the up, and is very structurally sound. So
maybe you bring Timo Werner with him.
The one thing about Mitchell is that he hasn't been involved in appointing managers. So at the moment he's Director of Recruitment and Development for RB Leipzig. But at Southampton he was under Les Reed. At Leipzig obviously he's under Ralf Rangnick.
Yeah.
And so he has had the advantage of having guys kind of above him who are extremely experienced and able in their roles. However, Paul Mitchell, he's still 37 and he looks like he's been doing this for 10 years and he looks like he's probably the superstar, kind of up and coming. I don't think you're going to get talk out of Dortmund. Right. And so if I'm looking around for the most gettable guy who's going to be top quality, it probably is Paul Mitchell.
And I wonder whether if you're Man United and you're Ed Woodward, you look at that lack of sporting director experience. You talk about him being the head of recruitment and development. I think at Tottenham he was also in charge of transfer negotiations or something like that. Maybe at Southampton that was. But if I'm Ed Woodward, I think, you know what, you can just basically do that. I'm going to take all the commercial stuff. Like, half of his job, Ed Woodward's entire job, will just be the commercial department now. So if you're Paul Mitchell and you've already got an established connection with Pochettino, and that, to me...
If it's Pochettino, yeah.
But if you're Pochettino and you look at Man United and you think, am I going to join them? Having Paul Mitchell as sporting director would definitely entice me to go more.
If you don't get Pochettino, though, who do you go for? Because in that case...
It's a fucking disaster if you don't get Pochettino.
Say you do get Paul Mitchell, then you might think, okay, right, because he's got to have a say, I think, in that next manager. Because he's going to build a squad based on the kind of football that he...
But he would pick Poch, surely. He will surely.
Yeah, but say you don't get Poch, then what do you go, okay, right, well, he was in the Leipzig family and maybe we get Marco Rose from Salzburg or something.
It's a fascinating crossroads, isn't it? Because it's a seminal moment for Manchester United. And like you said, if they don't get Poch, then it does become more problematic.
I just don't see a world we don't get Poch. I can't imagine not having Poch as Man United manager.
Your last few managers have been, holy shit, we're coming out of a hugely successful period. We need someone that's going to at least guarantee short-term success, and that kind of methodology it's unravelled, hasn't it? With Jose Mourinho, you are back to where you started when he took over.
How do you boys think Poch would do at Man United if he was to take charge? I think he's the only name on the Man United list. He's the only dream candidate. How do you think he would do at United?
I think he'd be brilliant.
Yeah,
You've got players that profile really similar to the talent he's got at Spurs. I think the press at Manchester United could be deadly. He's got, the playmaker that he's got now in Eriksen, in Paul Pogba. No doubt, like every, Manchester United fan out there, he'd want to strengthen the defence. I don't necessarily think he'd be able to bring anyone from Spurs with him because he's tied them all down to long-term contracts there. So Daniel Levy couldn't lose a player of the calibre of Kane and Dele Alli in the same window as Pochettino. But how much would they be paying for him? Poch, if
they'd be paying
45
million. 45 million.
45 well spent.
I'd rather spend 45 on him than on the kind of player you tend to get for 45 now.
Yeah.
Like I think that's probably better money.
We spent 52 on Fred.
The question with Pochettino is not whether he's the right guy or whether he's worth the money. It's just whether you can get him.
Yeah.
And it's really troubling, I think, for Man. You're on the knife edge between optimism and fear, I feel, because if you get Pochettino, the future's so bright. If you don't get him, the drop-off to your next best candidate is worrying me.
But that is because Poch is without Pochettino.
But that is because Poch is one of the top 3 elite coaches in world football right now, isn't it? That's why it's such a big drop-off.
And who fits you stylistically, because that's the other thing. Like, do I think that Man United could feasibly prize Simeone out of Atletico Madrid next summer? Yes, I do. Do I think that that's what anyone at Man United wants at the moment? No.
What about 6 months down the line, Solskjaer's done a fine job, Allegri hasn't won the Champions League again, he's won, 4 doubles and a treble now at Juventus. If he gets his heart broken in Europe's elite competition again for the umpteenth time, can Man United tempt him out of Juve?
I wonder if you get a better shot at him if he does win the Champions League.
What, because it just dropped?
Well, yeah, no unfinished business. I'm out.
But still, would you rather have Poch or Allegri?
I mean, if you're not going to get Poch, it's not a big step down to Allegri, in my opinion.
But
I'd only take Poch because of like
they're not dissimilar.
it's a perfect fit for the philosophy as well, isn't it? It is a perfect fit for the
and
philosophy.
He's a bit more attacking, I think.
I like the things that I think Poch fits with Manchester United is that youth development, plays attacking football. Like those are the sort of things that I don't see.
I think Allegri ticks both those boxes as well. Like I mean, Juve last season or the season before, outscoring Napoli, finished on a goal difference of +62.
Got a bit lucky on
Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, to an extent, but he's good at bringing the younger talent as well.
I would love Allegri, don't get me wrong.
Bentancur is playing really, really well at the start of this season. He's found
but then he did bring back Chiellini.
I mean, Bernardeschi looked like he was about to break through.
Bernardeschi's 24 though. Regani hasn't really played.
Regani's not really played.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
a
don't
little
know.
bit like Sarri and or a lot of successful managers in that he's not going to change a winning formula. But I feel like at least the young players who have left Juventus, who haven't broke through, have still had a good footballing education and excelled elsewhere.
So how about this for a question? If a lot of people will be saying at home, like, Man United fans are so entitled to think they can take Pochettino in the summer when they build a new stadium for him, they're going to set him up with which player do you want? This team is effectively
he's not
Pochettino
have a massive
FC.
budget, is he, after the stadium?
But if you're, like, loads of other fans will be saying, Man United fans are so entitled to think they can take you. If you were Poch, would you go to United?
How am I going to be backed? You know,
You're going to be backed massively at Man United.
Am I assuming that if I go, you can definitely get a new contract for De Gea? You can definitely nail everybody down. Because if I'm at Spurs, then I think I'm not going to have a lot of money. But what do I need? I need a central midfielder, and I'm probably going to need another 2 central defenders. And I'm going to turn over a little bit, but actually there's not that much turnover that needs to be done over the next few years. If I go to United, I think I've got to turn over an entire defence and a bit of the midfield. I probably want a dedicated 10 maybe. So there are a few things I need to do. On the other hand, I'm going to have way more money. I don't know.
And it's Man United.
It really depends what the backing is and what his ambitions are, because I don't think the money is going to be hugely.
Because Real Madrid are going to be on the table for him as well. Real Madrid are going to be interested in Pochettino in the summer.
I feel like I'd rather go to Real if I had the option.
Yeah, I think. I imagine he doesn't want to as well sully his time at Tottenham to an extent. So moving to Real is a cleaner break, isn't it? Totally get that. Similar sort of levels of backing and levels of expectation. But
similar sorts of levels of squad rebuild as well, though.
It's difficult. Maybe even more. Maybe if he struggles to finish 4th again this season, and gets knocked out of the Champions League in the round of 16 by Dortmund, it's hard to tap into that mindset, isn't it? But if he comes out of this season trophyless, again, he might be a bit of a wounded animal, and you might have an outside chance. But you'd imagine Manchester United want this sorted before the end of the season. I can't imagine Poch agreeing to anything now.
Yeah, I mean, United, I think from all the reports I've read, he's the only candidate, really, that United are interested in right now.
I mean, well, I would obviously love it if you don't get him then, because it will be
Who would be your worst appointment then that you've been linked with? Someone that you've seen that you've thought absolutely not?
Have you been seriously linked with anyone?
I haven't really seen us linked with anybody other than Poch. It's literally just been Poch.
Yeah.
In every major news outlet.
A bit of Zidane.
But do you know what? That would worry me as a Tottenham fan, is the fact that every news outlet's like, Poch! Like, that shit starts to get in your head, doesn't it? Is it like, do you know what I mean? It's just weird. Because Tottenham will crumble without Poch.
I don't know. It depends who. I don't really like the market for managers like next summer. I think it might be a bit of a horrible time to try and recruit a manager.
Marco Rose went to Tottenham.
Well, yeah, but it looks like he might go to Hoffenheim, and I don't know. Like, if they got Marco Rose, that'd be great, and that would be a good forward-thinking appointment. But
Jardine maybe to Tottenham.
Jardine would be good as well. But Jesus, I don't know.
It's a tough one, isn't it? It is a tough one.
If I was Spurs, I would be looking at Bayern. I'd be looking at Kovac at Bayern. I'd be looking at Solari at Real Madrid, and I'd be looking at Man United and thinking, I'm going to get paid next summer. The only question is by whom.
Yeah, 45 million's coming our way.
And I don't know if Bayern were available, maybe as Poch, I'd want to do that.
I don't think Bayern will pay 45 mil to get him out of his contract.
Probably not.
I think that's more of a United Real Madrid move.
So who does Poch bring with him in that first summer, or who does he go out and get? Obviously, we did the podcast on fixing Manchester United.
I actually don't think he brings. I don't think Daniel Levy lets a Tottenham player go with him. No. They're all locked down to 2 long-term contracts. He's not going to let United take Dele Alli.
Not from Tottenham. Who does he sign?
Oh, he's signing centre backs.
So bring with him was a little
Definitely
bit.
centre backs. I think he
Probably another centre
massively improves Luke Shaw.
Apparently, you bid £95 million for Kalidou
Kalidou
Koulibaly.
Koulibaly,
De
yeah.
Laurentiis from Napoli verified
But,
that in the last couple of weeks, and they rejected £100 million for a 27-year-old defender. That's crazy.
But I think
shouldn't have done
Pochettino exponentially improves Luke Shaw as he has with every other fullback that he's ever coached.
Yeah, he is incredible with fullbacks.
I think we'd probably go out and get a right back to replace Valencia, and then.
You don't think
like
Fosu
you
Mensah
said,
steps in?
I think the other
Dalot.
area, I don't actually think a 10 is as much of a necessity as Matic's replacement as a 6.
Matic, I now like.
Because we really
feel
don't have
sorry
anyone
for
to
him
play that
watching
role.
him.
Yeah,
When
it's
Gini
just-
Wijnaldum sent him for a hot dog against Liverpool, and he was rolling around in the
I
mud,
think,
playing stuck in the mud.
Yeah, so 2 centre backs,
became
right back
clear
and
he
6 are
needs
the
replacing
emergency
imminently,
ones we desperately need. But I do think we'll sign a centre back in January. I'd be extremely surprised if we don't bring a centre back in January.
God, who's making that call though? Who's deciding which centre back you buy in January?
Don't know.
Head
I think
scout,
I think we'll have a sporting director appointed within the next few weeks.
Bloody
You think
hell.
you're going to sign players in January?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't just have to be appointed in the next couple of weeks. They've got to be appointed, decide on a target, and get that deal done. And there's like, what, 6 weeks until the end of the January window?
There's very little point doing business in January if you're Manchester United. Like we've already established,
I think
they've
it's gonna be in
got the
January.
talent to finish 6th. It's just more short-termism, isn't it?
Maybe, but
Unless there's a centre back out
if
there
there's a
who's
centre back out there
a
that becomes available,
great
or
price,
something,
and I
then I
don't
think
know
you'll
about it.
I don't know.
I mean, Mourinho had a short list of 10 defenders. He didn't get any of those, so chances are.
Chances are it won't happen.
His
but
shortlist was
I don't
mental,
see
though.
United spending 0.
I watched a video this morning of Mason Greenwood scoring a hat-trick against, is it for the reserves?
Chelsea, yeah.
Against Chelsea.
Yeah.
He looks like he might be on the peripheries of the first
Mason
team.
Greenwood should definitely be in the squad. Should definitely be in our first team squad. But whether or not Solskjaer uses him, Solskjaer has obviously got a really good track record with the Man United youth teams and managed Paul Pogba in that setup. And has given a few interviews, hasn't he, where he since said, "I know how to get the best out of Paul Pogba," and I'm excited to see him try.
I mean,
I could
have got the best out of Paul Pogba at youth level.
Yeah.
So what does a
true.
successful 6 months look like for Solskjaer?
A successful 6 months for Solskjaer is finishing, I don't even care top 6, top 8. Yeah, to be fair, I think I'm probably chatting shit and Patrick's right. I think Man United's success looks like over the next 6 months, us playing an attractive brand of football that gets the fans back on side, getting Martial and De Gea to sign new contracts, and getting Pochettino a pre-agreed contract.
So damning of how far you've slipped since Ferguson left. The fact that you'd be happy with just getting the fans on side for the last half of the season.
Yeah.
Would you not?
Well, we're not
Do you
going
not
to
think United
challenge.
fans will be insistent that he comes in Solskjaer and needs to start just winning again? Like,
Yeah, that's fine. But like we were winning last season. We finished second and we hated it. Because it's like, I don't want to win 1-0 and at home it's Burnley.
You'd rather get Pochettino.
I'd rather win.
If you get Pochettino, that literally doesn't matter if you finish 17th.
Yeah,
I
I would
genuinely think
rather
that.
finish 5-5 against West Brom than beat Burnley 1-0.
yeah.
Like every day of the week.
I mean, fair enough. He's got to not only get the fans back on side, but he's got to make the players see, the important players, the core of your side, that there's a future for them at this Manchester United as well. Because I feel like a lot of players, particularly Martial, whose agent said that the contract wasn't what they were looking for at the moment, are stalling because United are rudderless, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I think if Man United goes to those players and goes, right, Pochettino's agreed to join us in the summer, he will be joining on June the 5th. We've got a sporting director, here's your contract, we've increased your terms by 20% to get you signed, get it done. I think that the lack of a manager, until they know who they are getting, they won't sign a contract.
Yeah.
So let's get that done. But anyway, this will be going out after Manchester United have played Cardiff. A nice little nuance to the fixture schedule there. That Solskjaer returns to Wales. But let us know what you think of the appointment, whether it's a good idea, whether it's a bad idea, whether Manchester United can indeed get Pochettino in the comments below. And let's just pray we beat Cardiff yesterday. I was going to look alright. Quick fire questions time now then. The first one was sent in by Charlie Greenhow. He says, is Ajax an outside chance of winning the Champions League this season?
Probably not winning, but do I think that they've got a chance to beat Real Madrid? I actually think that I'd take Ajax over Real Madrid if you made me bet on that game.
Really?
I do not. Unless Bale is absolutely fully fit, I don't know. Solari is doing a horrible job, I think. The squad is still a bit misshapen, the defence still isn't firing. Ajax were really impressive against Bayern, both legs. And something about this particular manager and this particular collection of talent, it looks like Ajax are the Ajax they were kind of 5-6 years ago when they were a real danger to pretty much every side.
Fearless, don't they?
They're so fun. They're really fun. They play exciting football. And one-on-one, I think, yeah, I don't know, over 2 legs, I really do think they could do Real Madrid. But after they get to the quarters, I don't know. If they came up against a Liverpool, a City, a Juventus, do I think they're going to get past them? It's going to take some serious luck.
Even their attacking, or not attacking, even their talented players like Frenkie de Jong have a bit of bite as well, don't they?
Yeah,
They've showed their nasty side against Bayern Munich in the return leg as well. So talented on multiple fronts, and I think they're going to be a really dangerous proposition. Who have they got in the last 16?
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid, so that's why you said it. God, that is going to be interesting.
I think that's probably the end.
I think, yeah, them or Dortmund for underdogs for the Champions League, but ultimately, City.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll go out the round of 16 though to Real Madrid.
Really?
I like the brand of football they play, but it's just.
You're much more of a believer in history than I am, though.
Yeah, I think.
Whereas I think like Bale shows up, maybe, but also it's entirely possible Hakim Ziyech just pings one in the top corner and
Very true.
Real Madrid go out.
The next one was sent in by Nero the Thing. He says, who will win the Premier League Golden Boot and Golden Glove this year? We're halfway through now. Golden Boot, I'm going to go for Aguero.
God, really?
Yeah.
It's been out quite a bit.
I know, but I think he's going to have a stellar back after the season.
So it's not
Harry
a stupid suggestion.
Who else is up there?
Aubameyang, Kane, Hazard, Sterling,
Hazard,
Salah.
Hazard has now been involved in 19 goals at Chelsea and he's only made 14 starts.
But he did go for a patch where I don't think he scored in like 11.
He went for a patch where he was injured as well, didn't he?
I'll stick with Aguero as Golden Boot, and I'm actually going to go for Alisson as Golden Glove.
Yeah, I'll go for Alisson as Golden Glove as well, but Golden Boot is difficult. Probably Kane or Salah.
Harry Kane.
Yeah.
I mean, Mo Salah's shot numbers he sustained his shot numbers from last season, which bodes really well. People saying that he's not going to be as prolific, but the way he's going and the chances he's carving out for himself in the box, and just the general amount of shots that Liverpool are producing as a team would suggest he's going to get between 20 and 25, and that may very well win it this year.
Yeah.
True. The last quick-fire question before we move on to personal comes from Jay Collin. He says, after not making a single signing in the summer, who do Tottenham need to sign in January to challenge for the title?
How many times have we answered this question?
I don't know. I don't think we've
Did we
asked
not
it
talk
before.
about this on a podcast? I swear we did.
I think Thiago Alcantara just always comes up.
Thiago
doesn't it?
Alcantara in
Yeah,
January?
though, my God, he's been outrageous
And then that's
recently. There's no way they let him go.
It's a short trip to Kovacic from there as well, isn't it? And then we're back to the first episode.
In
of the season.
January, though, this is. In
January.
To challenge for this season's title.
To challenge for the title.
They should have got Basuma in the summer. That would have been perfect. I don't know how much money they've got to spend, man.
I don't think they've got any.
I mean, in an ideal world, if they can't get somebody in January, I would be going to not Real Madrid, to PSG, and I would say I want to sew up a deal now for Lo Celso for the summer.
Ooh, because I actually read
Big
an
defensive
article.
output, 3 dribbles a game.
I take it back. This is
I read
actually
an
quite
article in
interesting.
L'Equipe
Who
as well.
Spurs could have had to challenge for the title in Jan?
Because I read an article in L'Equipe as well that Tottenham have done absolutely everything to sign Rabiot, and Rabiot's just said no.
Yeah, but there's no way he's going to go to Barca. Surely he can go to a bigger club, more money.
It's good that they're
Because
seriously.
he's not playing another game for PSG. Did you see that statement by PSG?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a done deal with Barcelona, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's good that they're going in for those sort of players, and they aren't settling for, if they could bring another Lucas Moura in, who came in January. I know he didn't adjust right away.
I kind of feel like that's why Pochettino will join Man United, because they can't get a Rabiot.
Yeah, maybe that'll be a source of frustration.
I don't think Man United could get a Rabiot.
I don't know. They probably could.
I mean, if they stop going after your Nkudus and your Clinton and G's, like these sort of Premier League standard players, and actually, they're not going to go balls to the walls for anyone in January, are they? No money.
They're not. I don't think there's any money. I don't think they sign a pair.
The well is dry.
I think maybe they get a centre back in.
They need somebody really they can get for 25, 30. That's where their big transfers have been recently, in that range. And I don't know who there is out there for that money.
They're landing every 1 in 5, aren't they?
Maybe they could go and try and get Diawara out of Napoli. He's still not playing as much as I'd like, but you start having to look for bargains. But they are out there. You look at Rodri and Cáceres and Torreira. Like defensive midfielders are out there for relatively limited sums.
So what do they need? A bit more firepower in the midfield.
They've also been quite heavily linked to Callum Wilson.
What about like the Leipzigs?
It's a lot of money for a guy they don't need.
the RBs, you know, we've been talking about Dabur, we've been talking about Hadara, and
Hadara they've been linked to before, yeah.
You know, players of that calibre.
But do you get them in January? I don't think you get them in January.
And Florian Grillitsch from Hoffenheim as well.
But if you're willing to pay 30, 40 million for them in January, I think Leipzig or the Red Bull family will always, like, it's business first, isn't it?
True. But for me, I don't see them having much budget.
Maybe go in and look at Monaco as well and say, like, how much.
What are you doing with Yuri Tielemans nowadays?
Say how scared are you?
Yeah.
Of relegation. Like, see if you could get Tielemans off them.
I thought Benny Henrichs was an excellent signing for them.
Benny Henrichs has been great,
Yeah.
but just in an absolutely catastrophic team.
Very true. Let's move on to personal questions, though. Now, we have the first one, which was submitted by James Lewis. He says, what are your plans for Christmas?
Driving home for Christmas.
Pato, what are you doing for Christmas?
My wife and I will go down and stay with her family in West Sussex, so down on the coast, not too far from Brighton. So we cook Christmas dinner, and I will just relax and I will drink a lot.
You cook Christmas dinner?
Yeah, I mean Emma does most of it. Emma does the heavy lifting.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Are you in charge of the bird? I'm not talking about Emma. I'm not being wildly sexist there either. Are you in charge of the turkey?
You know, I help with the bird. I'm a dab hand with the bird, but
Stuff it.
I'm actually more of a potato
okay.
Guy.
We're talking
potato and gravy.
Goose fat. Oh, I could eat them all.
Yeah. You know, you parboil them, you rough them up, toss them in goose fat.
See,
I normally add a choice of spices. Then I go and I mash them down to increase the surface.
Roughing them up is a fine art, isn't it? Because that's when you get the crispy edges.
Yeah.
Fire.
What are you doing for Christmas?
I'll be going to see the old deer and the cat in Leicester. I think just the last 2 Christmases. Don't know if it's
Northerners
just
love to call their mums old dears, don't they? I always think that's well harsh. My mum would be well disappointed if I said old dear.
it's just an affectionate term, isn't it? The Marge. I just chilling around Leicester. I think the last 2 Christmases I've been ill, so I'm just looking forward to a clean bill of health.
Well, still plenty of time. Could still get ill.
I'm just going back to Exeter. Yeah,
See the puppy.
Seeing my friends. Have a few nights out down in Exeter, mate.
We
have
do
some
have
ciders.
do you have any traditions with your? So you said I just assumed family then, but we always go out every Christmas Eve and we'll do. So we used to do like the Golden Mile, which was inspired by the Edgar Wright film. The World's End, which wasn't a great film whatsoever, but the idea of drinking 12 pints at 12 pubs was sort of pretty compelling. So we've tried to do that for the last 4 or 5 years. And it's just going to these like samey pubs in Leicester where it's super depressing, super quiet. There's like little clocks on the walls, pictures of cats, and then there's just like a bunch of 14, 15 absolute vagabonds
with
walking.
their checks from the dole office.
With a gyro, but so being sick and eating a kebab and welcoming in Christmas.
That's
like,
a great tradition.
Covered in chili sauce is pretty much where I'll be.
It's a good tradition. But yeah, the final question of the day, and this is a big one.
Oh, we're there already.
This is a big one.
Come on then, bring it on.
Are the rumours of Patrick Van Straten leaving true?
Yeah, they are true. I am going to be away in January and February, but I will be back at the beginning of March. So I'm only gone for a couple of months.
7 Sunday bars.
asterisk.
Send your commiserations to Olivia, who will have to contend with all the boys with just one plastic to back her up in the form of Pete Dorman. And we all know he's not a great plastic. More of a Gretchen Wieners. Yeah, I'm going to be gone for a couple of months. I'm going to be spending some time in Paris with my wife. So hopefully I'll come back a more cultured man. I don't know. I was just very tired. Yeah, this last year I've been a bit burnt out, and I found that haven't been as good on scripts or presenting as I would like to be. And just kind of want some quality time with my wife. And this is a thing we've wanted to do, but because of our jobs, we can't go and live abroad properly at the moment, which is what we really wanted to do. So this is the best thing we can get right now. I was just fortunate that I was able to do it.
So why Paris as a city?
That's a mistake.
Well, we wanted to do language learning, and Emma has quite a bit of French, and I have a tiny bit. Whereas I wanted to go to a Spanish-speaking country, but Emma has no Spanish at all. Paris we know really well, and also it's cheap to go there, which is kind of important for us. You know, if we're going to go there for a couple of months. I don't know. It's just a place that we will probably go for the rest of our lives. France, more generally, not just Paris. Seems like it works. It ticks all the boxes.
But we're going to have you Skyping in for a couple of podcasts, aren't we? So
I'll try and get a PhD.
There'll be remnants of Van Straten on the channel over the next 2 months, but
traces.
Just not hearing you.
But don't worry about it, guys.
Full form.
Because Patrick will return And you know, we might have some good news for you guys about another member of Football Daily joining.
What?
Early January, no?
Maybe, I don't know. You're looking at me like...
Yeah, well, I don't know whether we can reveal that news yet.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Don't know whether we can reveal that. We'll hint at it, but there might be an old face returning to the channel in Patrick's absence. He's back. I can't believe I'm saying it.
Just to keep you guys on side, we've given him an obscene contract.
We bought him back. Is it the man you're thinking? Maybe. But Patrick leaves, he returns, then Patrick's back. And he might stay if we can agree that long-term contract. But thanks very much for submitting your questions to this episode. If you want to be involved in future weeks, slam in the comments below and look out for the tweet we send out mid-week as well. Like I said at the start, make sure you click the link in the description below. Download the podcast this week. It's kind of like our end of season awards, isn't it?
It is.
I can't remember what they are, so go and listen to it.
We're staying here now to do another episode of Sunday Vibes for the 30th.
Yeah.
So you guys get your Sunday Vibes fix over Christmas, which is why we'll be wearing exactly the same sort of clothes and exuding the same, you know,
Lack of energy.
aura.
Bye.
Maybe get another pint in?
Merry Christmas.
No, I'm right.
Love you.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.